Why take your foot off the gas?
Right, exactly. And, this is the second time that Bill O'Brien has done this with his team. They did it in New England, and they lost both of these games. Now, every game's a little bit different. Let's take a look at the last three plays on offense from the Houston Texans. You can see that Seattle is using their timeouts. One of the reasons why you want to try to run the ball here is so Seattle will use their timeout. So use their second timeout here. Now, here's the play, 3rd and 4. I mean, if you gain 4 yards and a foot, you're going to win the football game. And they elected to run right in the middle of that Seattle defense.
Given the kind of game that Deshaun Watson was having, and he panned it off 3 times.
Right. So if you're Josh McDaniels and you're the offense coordinator of the New England Patriots, you have Tom Brady, a Hall of Fame quarterback. What are you doing?
You're not running it 3 times.
You're not running it 3 times. You're going to throw the ball in there somewhere, and a lot of it will probably be play action with Deshaun Watson, or should be, where he can move and get onto the outside, and then you can use his athleticism to run for the first down. Bill O'Brien said after the game that he's got to coach better, and I think what he means by that is that he knows that he took his foot off the pedal and basically got really conservative and tried to win the game on defense, which obviously means that he made the wrong decision. The other thing that happened in that game, Rich Gannon, who was doing the game, our colleague, said this: it's not the plays, coach, it's the players. Who do you have to make a play? Your quarterback.
And given the way that Deshaun Watson was playing, would you not give him the opportunity?
I call this young kid the Magic Man. In that time, you have to put the ball in his hands. He has to make that decision. If you pass the ball, the same thing he was doing with the 6 or 7 yards rushing, that's where his magic actually takes over. That's the magic of him and Russell Wilson. They have that dynamic that they can tell you the right time to do it. But I've always said this when I was playing. Players make plays. Coaches make decisions. But decisions determines outcomes of games. And that's what we have failed to realize every time these coaches make these decisions. This is a mentality. This is a mentality. You go back to Seattle Seahawks a few years ago against the New England Patriots. A decision to throw the football on the 1-yard line. Yeah. That's a mentality.
A mentality. Do most coaches have that mentality?
Well, to go back to the game, Seattle was saying to the Houston offense, we dare you to throw or do something besides run the football. That was apparent when you just watched the film. Even if you're a casual fan, when everybody's crowded the line of scrimmage, they're daring you to move the quarterback, throw the football, whatever. They did it successfully all day to bring your point up, and it worked. So when they had New England down, they got the ball. It's 3rd and short. And to me, one thing you don't do against the New England Patriots, those situations, is run up the middle. And they did. And of course, it got stopped, and they kick a field goal. Then Tom Brady scores a touchdown, and you lose. There's 4 quarterbacks when you're a coach in the NFL that you have to coach differently against, because these guys just don't die. They're vampires is what I call them. You got to drive the stake through their heart.
4 quarterbacks?
4 quarterbacks.
Guess who they might be? Who might they be?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Tom Brady.
Yes.
Tom Brady.
Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers.
No. Aaron Rodgers.
Who's your 4?
Tom Brady, Matt Stafford. But here's what I'm saying. Okay. You give any of these guys 4 downs to beat you, how do you stop them in 4-down territory? So there you are as the Houston Texans, and you do this. You know you're going to most likely give the ball back to Russell Wilson. He has complete freedom, and now is not worried about making a mistake because he's trying to win the game, and then it backfires against you.
One thing I will say about Deshaun Watson, the kid belongs on the football field. We all could see that, right? He was great against Alabama in the 2 national championship games. We know that he has the DNA to make the plays when the game is on the line, that he's not going to be overwhelmed by the moment. That's the beauty of watching him play right now. So if I'm Bill O'Brien, I should have learned my lesson in New England. And I'm not saying that if they would have thrown the ball on 3rd down, that would have been incomplete. But at least give the kid a chance. Don't just hand the ball up the middle and end the game right there.
Run pass option.
Let me just tell you why. Here's things I think about. Why, second guessing. Why don't they go for it? Because it takes courage to call those plays in that situation as a coach. It really does. And you got to know, this is terrible, but unless you're a successful coach, the media is going to kill you if you throw it and it doesn't work or whatever. And then job security is always a thing. Real quick story. Pete Carroll last year in a night game up in New England scores. It puts him up 7. He doesn't kick the extra point to go 8. You remember that?
Yes.
He goes for 2. He wants to get up 9. I had him the next week, and I'm grilling him about it. He goes, Phil, look, it's Tom Brady. If he gets the ball, we're up 8. You think they're not going to drop down and score and get 2? And I just went, Man, that's a great point, Pete. He goes, I thought this out. I went for it because I wanted to drive the nail in the coffin there because I knew there was no way we were going to stop it.
Even though it may not work out. So that's the thing. As long as you're aggressive. And one thing I think Bill O'Brien should know that. Look, he knows more football than I do, and I know that he feels probably just terrible that he has somewhat got conservative on these games late. I would just say that let the kid play. If he fails, so what? It's going to help you in the long run because this kid's not going anywhere. This kid is going to be right in the middle of all of it, and you're going to be in a million games where the same situation is going to arise. Let him do it.
If that situation happens again, guess what?
He's doing it.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
And the only thing I would say, defensively, it's a totally different thought process, right? Because in that position, you're either saying play zone or you're blitzing. Right? But if you watch Seattle, they neither had to do neither one. They just sat back and said, yeah, they did them a favor.
And last thing about that game, last thing, you're the Houston defense on that last drive. It's chaos. Yeah. You're making mistakes. Will some coach please call a timeout for the defense because your defense is scattered around?